Well, hello and welcome to another edition of the Stogie Review Short Ashes. I am Walt, and back once again for another condensed cigar review. And the reason you're seeing this is on Friday instead of over the weekend is because I'm in the process of getting all my ducks in a row. I'm making an attempt at getting a pre-release cigar to do a review on, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to have it. I'm certainly not sure if I'm going to have the review finished to have up on Friday. It is Wednesday. I'm planning on picking up the cigar. I haven't had it yet, so I need at least a day to get a couple in me and see what the cigar's all about. I'm not going to spring the cigar on you because I'm not 100% sure that everything's going to work out just yet. So if all goes as planned, on Saturday you'll see a pre-release review, and hopefully we're the first people to have it. But until then, I've got a cigar that I've done in the past, like usual, and this is the Fuego Gran Corojo #1. And see if I can get it to focus on the band. And probably not. There we go. And as soon as I turn it vertical, it goes blurry. At any rate, this is a cigar that I brought home from IPCPR with me in Vegas, and it's the last one I have. These are a little pricey for this little guy. You're looking at about $7. And as you would guess from the Fuego name, these are made by Jesus Fuego, same guy that makes the Fuego Delirium. He had his hands involved in several Rocky Patel blends, the Helix blend, and he also makes the Defiance for Zycar, another cigar that I think is very good. So, without any further ado, let's get this review underway, and hope that I'm not tying you up too long this time. First and foremost, I just clipped the cigar, checked the pre-light draw. Very free, little resistance. I remember the last one I had was a little snug, so this one's a bit of a surprise. I'm not quite sure why the other one was a little tight, or the other samples were a little tight, but this is more along the lines of what I like. As far as the color goes, it looks very consistent. There's a small light spot on the back side. With the exception, actually it looks like it might be a little pectin because it's on the band as well. So the only discoloration is actually a little bit of pectin on the back side of the band. The color is very rich and deep dark brown. It's mildly oily. The foot looks pretty good. It doesn't look like the tobaccos are really packed together. Pre-light draw is the pre-light aroma is very rich. It's got a very deep earthy aroma to it, and that's about all I have for you. This is I'm sort of in a rush, so I'm trying to get this taken care of so I can run out the door and get some other things taken care of to get that review lined up. As far as the way the cigar feels, it feels like there's a slight soft spot right down toward the foot, like the end of the last third. But aside from that, it looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and get my cigar lit. I know I've answered this before, but I keep getting this same question every now and again, and that is, what lighter are you using? This is actually it's sort of like a creme brulee torch, culinary torch. It's got a Rocky Patel stamp on it. My local cigar shop actually just started carrying this exact torch without the Rocky Patel stamp. I just don't remember who it's made by. But I got this a couple of years ago from Famous Smoke Shop. They were doing a Rocky Patel special, some sort of vintage collection special. And I picked it up with a 5-pack of the RP Vintage line for like $30, and it's been great since. And it's got the little Rocky Patel emblem on the top. So got my cigar lit, my phone's ringing in the background, and so sit tight, I'll be right back. Alright, well, I ditched the telemarketer that was calling and smoked a little bit more of my Fuego Gran Reserva Corojo #1, very long name, and so far the flavor is pretty good. The burn line, though, is kind of funky. Let's see if I can get it to focus. And of course not. Anyway, in the blur, you can see it's kind of wavy, kind of flowering, kind of ugly. It's flaking off, which is kind of opposite of what I remember. I remember the cigar having a very tight burn, doing very well in that department. While the ash is light in color, it's kind of ugly. The draw is good. There's very little resistance. It's almost a little too free, but it's a nice change of pace from what I remember from this cigar. I seem to remember it being kind of stiff, feeling like you really had to work to get any smoke out of it. The flavor is just a very dominant Corojo flavor, which I'm enjoying very much. It's just a sort of a straight up flavor that I always seem to enjoy. It's, you know, there's no frills to it. It's just it's a nice solid flavor that I tend to gravitate towards. The finish is very crisp, rich, crisp. Just all in all, it's a pleasure to smoke. It's difficult to explain a cigar that has one flavor and it's just sort of that's it. It's the core is it's a Corojo cigar. It's very upfront as far as that Corojo flavor is concerned. Body is about medium. So all in all, I've got a cigar that's not burning so well, has a very good flavor, solid solid core flavors. I'm tripping all over my own words. I can't talk. Let's try this one more time. We have a cigar with very solid Corojo flavors. The finish is very crisp. Body is medium. Construction aspects of the cigar are a little shoddy as far as the appearance goes. It seems to be burning well, so I'm going to let it at that. I don't want to babble on anymore. So sit tight. I'll be back. We'll do the second third of my Jesus Fuego Gran Reserva Corojo number 1. Alright, well, I'm back. It is the second third, I believe. I'm all discombobulated. I believe it's the second third of my J Fuego Gran Reserva Corojo number 1, and well, it's going pretty well. That really fugly looking burn that I had straightened right up, it looks more like it should. Burn line's thin and even. The ash color is fairly light. It's got a nice compacted shape to it. It's not flaking anymore, which actually, come to think of it, that bit of flaking may have been that soft spot that I felt. Sort of a hollow spot in the cigar. Could have been pulling away because there was no core of ash for it to bond to. So now it's burning very well. It's beginning to get a little warm across the tongue. The draw is still very loose. It's borderline too loose for my liking. Body is medium. It's sort of getting around medium to full. The finish is rich and crisp, and the flavors are, well, it's more Corojo. That deep Corojo base from the first third, it really picks up considerably throughout the second third. It's undoubtedly Corojo. It's sort of almost in your face, just full-fledged Corojo flavor. And while it may seem, you know, like it's a little one-dimensional, but it's nice. It's one of the core flavors that I really enjoy, and a whole lot of it I don't mind. So I'm getting a whole lot of this Corojo flavor. I think it's very rich, very enjoyable. I'm getting a little bit of spiciness through the sinuses, but really that's the only deviation from the Corojo flavor. So there you have it, the second third of my Jesus Fuego Gran Reserva Corojo number 1. Sit tight, I'll be back one more time. We'll wrap this thing up and I'll let you be on your way. Well, welcome back. It's time to wrap up my J Fuego Gran Reserva Corojo number 1. Like usual, I'm really not paying attention to the time, but this cigar seems to be moving a little fast. I'm not quite sure whether it's because myself, I feel a little rushed as I'm trying to get some other things taken care of, or if the cigar's actually burning a little fast. You know, me feeling rushed aside, the draw is a little loose, so I could understand it burning a little fast. But all in all, the faster burning isn't causing a whole lot of problems. It's getting a little warm, but aside from that, it's burning straight. Burn line's thin. The ash is still holding compact now that we're beyond that flowering part. The body is medium to full. Finish is it's rich. It's sort of crisp. There's not a whole lot of lingering on the palate. Sometimes there's like a feeling of a thin film. There's a little bit of that, but it gives me the impression that it's very crisp, sharp. That film sort of lays and then dissipates very quickly. So I just get the feeling that it's sort of crisp rather than drawn out and creamy. As far as the flavors go, there really hasn't been any change from the start of the cigar. I'm getting a little bit of pepper now, also a little bit of spice for the sinuses, but for the most part, the same core Corojo flavor is in the cigar and very prominent since it has been in the start. You may feel that that's a little one-dimensional, but again, I don't mean to harp on it, but I really like that Corojo flavor, so I don't mind that one-dimensional flavor profile one bit. My overall impression of the cigar, it was ugly at first. The burn line was out there. It was flaky, the ash that was, and it's got a pretty high price point of $7 for such a small cigar. Now there's a reason why the cigar is so expensive, and that goes along with the tobaccos being used in this particular cigar. If you take a look at the original review, I broke down everything that I knew as far as the logistics of the tobacco and why it was expensive. Not having it in front of me right now, I can't just read it off to you. But, I'm enjoying the cigar nonetheless. I thought it was good. It's a little pricey. I don't know how many sizes it comes in. I think it might only come in one. But in any case, this is an unprepared, condensed review of the Jesus Fuego Gran Reserva Corojo No. 1. So hopefully tomorrow, you'll see this on Friday, hopefully tomorrow you'll see the pre-release review that I'm trying to get worked out. If that's the case, see you tomorrow. Otherwise, happy smoking.